Welcome, fellow aviation enthusiasts and curious minds, to a sky-high adventure like no other. In the vast realm of aviation history, there exists a rare breed of flying machines that defy the ordinary. From unconventional designs to downright bizarre contraptions, here are the most unusual flying machines ever built. Caproni K60 Transareo plane. There was a time when aviation was still in its infancy, and a daring Italian visionary by the name of Gianni Caproni dreamt of conquering the skies in the most daring way possible. Enter the Caproni K60 Transareo, a fantastical aircraft that earned the nicknames Novaplano for its jaw-dropping 9 wings and Capronissimo for its sheer audacity. This huge machine was made to carry around 100 adventurous souls across the vast levels of the Atlantic Ocean. It all started on January 20, 1921, a day marked in aviation history. The Transareo came out of its hangar, a massive machine breaking free from its protective shell, while cameras captured the astonishing sight. But oh, it wasn't all smooth sailing. The next day was the big show. The day they planned to gently lower this flying contraption into the water for the first time. A hired cameraman was confident to capture the historic moment. Yet things took an unexpected turn. The lake was too shallow, and the slipway was too short. Not once but twice did they extend it. Finally, on February 9, the Transareo made its watery debut, engines humming like a choir of mighty angels. In control was Federico Semprini, a renowned pilot known for performing a daring loop with a huge Caproni K3 bomber. This engineering marvel boasted 8 roaring Liberty L12 V12 engines, propelling it at a stately 130 kilometers per hour with a range of 610 kilometers. Edgeley Optica. The Edgeley Optica, well, it's a bit like the chameleon of the aviation world, part helicopter, part fixed-wing aircraft, and a whole lot of unique. It features a cockpit resembling a helicopter, positioned in front of a ducted fan engine, with fixed wings, 2 booms, and a high-set tailplane. The Optica journey took off in 1974 when John Edgeley and his small team embarked on this daring aviation adventure. Fast forward to 1982, and institutional investors jumped on board, setting up shop at Old Sarum Airfield in Wiltshire. They ramped up production, gained the UK's seal of approval, and delivered the first customer aircraft. But hold on, here's a twist in the tale. The final phase of full-scale production needed more investment, which, sadly, never came into existence. The business hit some rough patches, and John Edgeley had to step aside. Eventually, new owners swooped in to complete the aircraft on the production line, and the Optica took to the skies. Now let's talk about its appearance. It's got a fully glazed forward cabin, providing the pilot and 2 passengers with a breathtaking 270 degrees panoramic view. Twin booms, paired with twin rudders and a high tailplane, give it an unmistakable profile. Under the hood, it's powered by a Lycoming flat 6 engine that drives a hush-hush ducted fan, making it one of the quietest operators in the skies. Some may even call it the bug-eye due to its distinctive looks. It's an aircraft that truly stands out in the crowd. Curtiss Wright VZ7. There will always be ideas that make you raise an eyebrow and say, wait, they did what? The Curtiss Wright VZ7, also known as the Flying Jeep, is one of those eyebrow raisers. The clever minds at the Aerophysics Development Corporation, a subsidiary of Curtiss Wright, came up with a wild concept called the aerial platform. They dreamed it up for a flying Jeep competition hosted by the U.S. Army Transport and Research Command. This outlandish creation not only provided transportation, but also packed some punch with the option to mount machine guns or recoilless rifles. Talk about firepower on the fly. To put their wild idea to the test, the U.S. Army ordered 2 prototypes of a smaller single-seat version, the VZ7. These airborne oddities made their debut on the military scene in the late 1950s. But despite all its quirks and potential, this peculiar creation had a maximum speed of just 32 miles per hour. Yes, you heard that right, 32 miles per hour. Cruising at a leisurely 25 miles per hour probably made rush hour traffic seem like a Formula One race. And with a service ceiling of only 200 feet, it was more of a low-flying oddity than a high-soaring sensation. It may have raised eyebrows, but it didn't exactly set the skies on fire. Goodyear INF Flatplane. Think of an aircraft you can inflate like a giant balloon, and you've entered the world of the Goodyear INF Flatplane. Conceived as an experimental aircraft by the Goodyear Aircraft Company, a branch of the tire and rubber giant known for its iconic blimps, this inflatable wonder defied expectations. But don't let its playful concept fool you. This aircraft had a serious mission. The Flatplane was crafted as a military rescue aircraft intended to be airdropped into hostile territories within a protective container. Its inflatable structure was a marvel, constructed from two rubbery materials bonded together by a mesh of nylon threads, creating a sturdy I-beam framework. When exposed to the air, the nylon absorbed moisture and transformed into a rigid shape, ready to take flight. Under the hood, or should I say, under the inflatable skin, it was powered by a 40-horsepower Nelson engine, later upgraded to 42 horsepower. The single-seater GA468 version could inflate in a mere 5 minutes and sported a 22-foot wingspan. It could soar through the skies for 390 miles on just 20 gallons of fuel, hitting a maximum speed of 72 miles per hour. But wait, there's more. The two-seater GA466 variant was slightly shorter, but boasted a wingspan that stretched an additional 6 feet. It packed a more robust punch with a 60-horsepower McCulloch 4318 engine, propelling both plane and passenger at speeds of up to 70 miles per hour, although it had a limited range of 275 miles. Before we continue, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to stay tuned for more fascinating stories like this. Super Scooper Plane. It's simply a remarkable amphibious aircraft that feels just as at home on the water as it does in the boundless skies. That's the essence of the Canadair CL415, famously nicknamed the Super Scooper and later reborn as the Bombardier 415. It's part of an illustrious lineage that was born from the imaginative minds at Canadair, now carried forward by Viking Air and de Havilland Canada. So what makes the CL415 truly stand out? Well, it's not just about gracefully gliding through the clouds. It's about battling the ferocious infernos down below. This aircraft isn't your everyday plane. It's a firefighting superhero. With the spirit of the Canadair CL215, it was purpose-built for aerial firefighting, capable of much more than just quenching flames. It's your trusted ally for daring search and rescue missions and a versatile workhorse for transporting goods. The story of the CL415 began in the early 90s when the need for a turbocharged successor to the CL215 became evident. Enter the CL415, boasting a blend of modernized features, enhanced aerodynamics, and an improved cockpit. Bombardier took the reins, crafting these aerial heroes from 2003 to 2015. Then, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Viking Air stepped in, breathing new life into this legendary aircraft with the CL515, now proudly known as the DHC515 Firefighter, all set to take flight from the heart of Calgary, Alberta. Lockheed Martin P791. This aircraft, the Lockheed Martin P791, breaks traditional boundaries by combining buoyant aerostatic lift with aerodynamic sleekness. This experimental marvel emerged from the creative minds at Lockheed Martin, a name synonymous with innovation. On a hot January in 2006, the P791 made its maiden voyage from the United States Air Force Plant 42 in Palmdale. Its tri-hull structure, resembling something from a sci-fi movie, featured disc-shaped cushions for smooth landings. But what makes this airship truly unique is its hybrid nature. It's not satisfied with just one kind of lift. It craves the best of both worlds. Some of its weight and cargo take pleasure in the embrace of aerostatic lift, keeping it gracefully buoyant, while the rest rides the waves of aerodynamic lift, chasing the need for speed. Originally conceived for the U.S. Army's Long-Endurance Multi-Intelligence Vehicle program, it later transformed into the Skytug, a robust heavy lifter with grand aspirations of going even bigger. Fast forward to today, and the DNER UH1 hybrid aircraft takes center stage, poised to revolutionize the world of cargo transport. With the FAA nod of approval in the bag and a payload capacity that leaves you in awe, it represents the future of aviation, soaring through the skies with Lockheed Martin's legacy of trailblazing innovation. Lunclass MD60 Aerocycle. It's a technological marvel that's part warship, part aircraft, and entirely unique. Meet the Lunclass Aerocycle, the brainchild of Rostislav Alexeyev, designed in 1975 and operational in the late 1980s. It's no ordinary flying machine. This is the world's only ground-effect vehicle to wage war on the open seas. Now you might think it resembles a typical aircraft, but it's not an aircraft, seaplane, hovercraft, or hydrofoil. The Lunclass Aerocycle dances above the water's surface, about 4 meters above, to be precise, harnessing the magic of the ground effect. It's like the ultimate aerodynamic cheat code, where flying low means less drag and increased efficiency. As you might have guessed, this remarkable creation isn't classified as an airplane, but as a maritime ship by the International Maritime Organization. It's a ship that moves lightly and quickly above the water, riding the ground effect for maximum power. And why Lun, you ask? Well, it's the Russian word for Harrier, an apt name for a vessel that hovers above the waves like a majestic bird of prey. NASA Ames Trident AD-1. This aircraft can pivot its wings like a bird in order to change its flight path. We're talking about the AD-1, the intellectual efforts of NASA Ames Research Center aeronautical engineer Robert T. Jones. This aircraft was not your average flying machine. It aimed to test the concept of a slanting, pivoting wing, and it did so with style. The AD-1's wing could rotate on its center pivot, adapting to the aircraft's speed and finding the perfect angle to maximize efficiency. Think of it as the aircraft's way of saying, "I've got this." Jones' idea came from wind tunnel studies that suggested an oblique wing design could double the fuel economy of supersonic transport. The AD-1's wing danced around the plane's main structure, remaining perpendicular during slow flights and tilting up to 60 degrees as the speed increased. This angle-changing wizardry promised aerodynamic excellence. However, every magic act has its quirks. At sweep angles over 45 degrees, the AD-1 displayed some unexpected handling issues due to its flexibility in the wind. The fiberglass structure didn't help either, limiting wing stiffness. Despite these quirks, the AD-1 marked a significant step in aircraft design. It flew 79 times during its research program, pushed boundaries, and set the stage for further aviation projects. Sikorski XWing. Have you ever seen an aircraft that could shapeshift, transforming from a helicopter into an airplane with a mere twist of imagination? That's the remarkable result of the Ames Research Center Army X-Wing project. Launched in the early 1970s, this project aimed to revolutionize rotor aircraft by combining the best of both worlds, the vertical lift of helicopters and the high-speed cruising of fixed-wing aircraft. Their creation. It is a hybrid wonder equipped with advanced X-Wing rotor systems. Beginning its journey in 1984, the RSRA conducted extensive tests at the Ames Dryden Flight Research Facility, now Dryden Flight Research Center, in Edwards, California. This aircraft was a true chameleon, capable of shifting between helicopter and airplane modes, or even combining both. Fast forward to 1987, and an even more advanced derivative, X-Wing, took flight. Designed not to replace helicopters or fixed-wing aircraft, but to deal with unique missions, the X-Wing possessed the flexibility to excel in low-speed efficiency and control like helicopters, while zipping through the skies at high cruise speeds. While the program officially concluded in January 1988, the legacy of these groundbreaking tests lives on, a reminder of the boundless creativity of aviation. SNKMOPTERA. This aircraft sounds like it belongs in a sci-fi movie, but it's pretty much a flying machine known as the SNKMOPTERA C450, which simply means beetle in French. This aircraft was designed to defy gravity, mastering the art of vertical takeoff and landing. Crafted by the French pioneers at SNKMA and manufactured by Nord Aviation, the Coleoptera was a daring experiment that never went beyond the realm of pure exploration. This ambitious project emerged during a time when vertical takeoff and landing aircraft were all the rage in aviation circles throughout the 1950s. The Coleoptera took on an otherworldly appearance with its peculiar ring-shaped wing, designed for swift vertical takeoffs and landings, eliminating the need for runways or sprawling airfields. It soared into the skies for its first flight in December 1958, showcasing its groundbreaking potential. However, like many audacious endeavors, the Coleoptera's journey was cut short. On its ninth flight in July 1959, disaster struck, and the sole prototype met its demise. Plans for a second prototype never came to light due to a lack of funding. BERTI VZA-14. Prepare to be amazed by the BERTI VZA-14, a true marvel of Soviet engineering born in the early 1970s. It's an aircraft that not only takes off from water, but also soars at astonishing speeds across vast distances. This wing-in-ground effect aircraft, a project of the Hungarian-born design virtuoso Robert Bartini in collaboration with the BERTI Design Bureau, was an answer to a unique challenge: hunting down the United States Navy Polaris missile submarines. The VZA-14 was no ordinary aircraft. It was designed to perform high-altitude flights while also flying gracefully just above the sea surface, harnessing the power of the aerodynamic ground effect. Bartini envisioned a three-phase prototype: the BERTI VZA-1 for testing aerodynamics and technology, equipped with rigid pontoons later replaced by inflatable ones; the BERTI VZA-2 with advanced features, including VTOL capability; and finally, the BERTI VZA-3, armed to the teeth with anti-submarine warfare systems. Boeing B377 PG. Step into the home of oversized cargo transport with the Aero Spaceline's Pregnant Guppy, a marvel of the skies designed to carry huge payloads, including components for NASA's Apollo program. This aircraft, the pioneer of Aero Spaceline's Guppy series, was so iconic that it inspired future giants like the Airbus Beluga and Boeing Dreamlifter. Back in 1960, NASA faced the problem of moving massive rocket parts from the West Coast to the East Coast. Then came John M. Conroy, an ex-USAF pilot who saw potential in discarded Boeing 377 Stratocruisers. Those glorious piston-engine relics airlines were replacing with sleeker jets. Conroy's plans involved giving these Stratocruisers a remarkable makeover for the task. Thus, the Pregnant Guppy was born. It had a striking triple bubble shape with an added 5-meter section behind the wings, a new 6-meter diameter upper aircraft body, and a detachable rear for easy cargo loading. It flew for the first time in 1962, earning its name for its unique look that resembled a, pregnant guppy. This innovative marvel delivered Saturn I rocket stages faster than barges and did it for a mere $16 per mile. Truly, the Pregnant Guppy proved that when it comes to carrying huge cargo, bigger is better. DNER UH1 Aerocycle. In the continuous world of aviation experiments, there's the HC-1 Aerocycle, popularly known as the personal helicopter. Designed by DNER Helicopters in the 1950s, it was like a one-man flying machine from a sci-fi comic. The grand idea was that even folks with only 20 minutes of training could become aerial scouts for the U.S. Army. Think about the possibilities. However, as they say, the devil is in the details, and the HC-1 turned out to be quite the handful to control. especially for rookies. After a couple of distressing crashes, it became clear that this dream of airborne foot soldiers was just that, a dream. But let's not forget the parachute, a true pioneer itself. The ultra-fast opening personnel parachute was developed for AZ-1 testing. It promised rapid openings at speeds from 0 to 50 miles per hour and altitudes as low as 25 feet, but reliability issues kept it from becoming the next big thing in parachuting. Today, only one AZ-1 survives, proudly on display at the U.S. Army Transportation Museum. Blom Voss BV 141. During the difficult times of World War II, when innovation soared as high as the stakes, one aircraft dared to stand out from the uniform skies: the Blom Voss BV 141. This German tactical survey marvel got its specific role in history, with a design so unique it left onlookers astounded. The BV 141 was no average aircraft. It danced to its own symphony of asymmetry. While its performance was top-notch, destiny had other plans for this maverick in the world of aviation. Its full-scale production dreams were dashed for various reasons, like the unavailability of its preferred engine and a formidable rival, the Focke-Wulf Fo 189. Back in 1937, the German Air Ministry yearned for a reconnaissance aircraft with unparalleled visuals. Arado tried but couldn't win their hearts, and Focke-Wulf's Fo 189 seized the spotlight despite its twin-boom design. In the shadows, Blom Voss, uninvited but fearless, conjured up the brilliantly asymmetric BV 141. As for descriptions, you can see a transparent crew cabin on one side, cradling the pilot, observer, and rear gunner, while the other side gracefully flowed from the mighty BMW 132N engine to the tail. Weight distribution might make you wince, but fear not. Those clever wings bore the load with no problems. This daring bird even transformed its tail, snipping off the starboard tailplane, to grant the rear gunner panoramic views. Grumman X29. The Grumman X29 stands out as a bold innovator with a forward-swept wing, advanced control features, and a mix of cutting-edge aircraft technology. It's Grumman's masterpiece that challenged the norm. But what makes the X29 different is its audacious aerodynamic instability. To tame this wild beast, computerized fly-by-wire control became its trusty sidekick, the secret weapon in its arsenal. Composite materials are used to prevent excessive twisting and reduce its weight due to aeroelastic divergence. In 1984, the X29 took its first flight, marking the beginning of an aviation odyssey. But what's the backstory? Well, two X29, as were born from the F-5, a freedom fighter's body parts, and the F-16's landing gear and control surface controllers. Yet, the real game changer was the use of carbon fiber composites, enabling those bold forward-swept wings at a 33-degree angle. Today, you can catch a glimpse of this trailblazer at the National Museum of the United States Air Force in Ohio or at the Armstrong Flight Research Center in California. And let's not forget the full-scale model that graced the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., until it journeyed to the Cradle of Aviation Museum in New York in 2011. NASA M2F1. Behold the NASA M2F1, the quirky flying bathtub of the skies, a featherweight, unpowered prototype on a quest to explore the uncharted territory of lifting bodies. This airborne oddball earned its designation as the M2F1, with the M signifying manned and the F proudly standing for flight. Let's journey back to the archives of 1962, when NASA's forward-thinking visionaries gave the green light to bring this extraordinary lifting body prototype to life. The skilled craftsmen at Dryden, armed with nothing but their ingenuity, wrapped a tubular steel frame in a plywood shell, and voila! The M2F1 was born in 1963. With tender, loving care, the M2F1 became a reality through the collaboration of NASA's brightest minds and the Briegel Glider Company. This flying bathtub even borrowed its landing gear from a Cessna 150, later upgraded to Cessna 180 gear. But you might wonder, why the quirky design? Well, it was conceived to revolutionize space travel. Rather than dramatic fiery descents with wings on fire, this innovative lifting body design would perform horizontal spacecraft landings, reducing the intense re-entry spectacle. It provided a landing area as vast as California, a significant departure from the limitations of traditional re-entry capsules. Today, the M2F1 takes its well-deserved rest at the Air Force Flight Test Museum on Edwards Air Force Base, California. Stipa Caproni. This is the Stipa Caproni, a marvel from 1932 that also dared to defy the conventional. Made by the visionary Luigi Stipa and brought to life by Caproni, this experimental Italian aircraft was no ordinary bird. It's typically an aircraft that's not just a flying machine, but a work of art. The Stipa Caproni was like no other, with its unusual hollow body shaped like a barrel. The entire engine and propeller tucked away inside that aircraft body, making it look like a single giant ducted fan. Although the Italian Royal Air Force didn't jump on board the Stipa Caproni bandwagon, this aircraft laid the groundwork for jet propulsion. Luigi Stipa's clever in-tubed propeller idea included an airfoil-shaped inner surface inside the contraption to improve airflow compression and propeller efficiency. After years of mathematical wizardry and lobbying the Italian fascist government, Stipa's dream took flight. Caproni brought it to life, resulting in the Stipa Caproni, a mid-wing monoplane unlike any other. Vought V173. This playful creation was the bright idea of Charles Zimmerman, a visionary designer. Zimmerman had a brilliant idea to tackle the drag problem that had long haunted conventional wingtips. He believed that by placing propellers at the wingtips, he could usher in a seamless airflow across the entire wingspan. The result? An aircraft that could achieve remarkably low takeoff and landing speeds while maintaining its high-speed prowess. It was a dream come true for Navy fighter aircraft looking to operate from aircraft carriers. Now fasten your seatbelts because NASA's predecessor, NASA, found this concept fascinating but handed the development reins to the private sector. Vought, known for its conservative approach, stepped up to the plate. They built a quarter-scale model and convinced the Navy to go all in on a full-scale aircraft. The Navy was so impressed that they gave the green light for the Vought XF5U1, a sturdier sibling. But alas, fate had different plans. Powered by Pratt and Whitney R2000 engines, it never took to the skies due to the Navy's shift toward turbojet engines. While the V173 showcased Zimmerman's brilliance, the call for high-speed performance with turbojets ultimately prevailed over its exceptional low-speed prowess. Lockheed XFV. Lockheed's XFV burst onto the scene in the early 1950s like a quirky character in an aviation tale. Its mission: showcasing the art of vertical takeoff and landing in the pursuit of convoy protection. It was a flying contraption that was affectionately nicknamed the Salmon by those in the know. This marvel was born from a U.S. Navy proposal in 1948, a quest for a VTOL vertical takeoff and landing aircraft that could gracefully nestle on platforms mounted at the sterns of traditional ships. Lockheed and Convair were locked in fierce competition for the coveted contract, but the rules of the game took a sharp turn in 1950. The Navy shifted its focus to a research aircraft that could potentially evolve into a VTOL ship-based escort fighter. Lockheed, armed with a hefty dose of creativity and unwavering determination, rolled up its sleeves and got to work. They brought forth two prototypes, each powered by an Allison turboprop engine. The XFV sported a one-of-a-kind cruciform V-tail that extended both above and below its fuselage, giving it an almost otherworldly appearance when it touched the ground. The Lockheed team playfully dubbed this aircraft the Pogo Stick, perhaps poking a bit of fun at their rivals at Convair and their XFY. But despite its unconventional looks, one of the XFVs actually took to the skies. while the other found a peaceful resting place at Los Alamitos Army Airfield in sunny California. The airborne pioneer now proudly resides at the Sun and Fun Campus Museum. Hughes H-4 Hercules. The Hughes H-4 Hercules, affectionately known as the Spruce Goose, is a legendary tale of colossal ambition and innovation in aviation history. This colossal flying boat was the brainchild of Howard Hughes and the Hughes Aircraft Company, designed as a strategic airlift solution for transatlantic missions during World War II. However, this gargantuan aircraft never had the chance to prove its strength in the war. It soared into the skies just once on November 2, 1947, leaving a lasting impression on aviation enthusiasts worldwide. Built primarily from wood due to wartime aluminum restrictions, it ironically earned the nickname Spruce Goose, although it was mostly crafted from birch. This giant boasts the largest wingspan of any aircraft ever flown until the advent of the scaled composite stratolaunch in 2019. The Spruce Goose's journey has been a chaotic one, with disputes over ownership, changes in locations, and adaptations for various purposes. From its long-forgotten days in a geodesic dome next to the Queen Mary ship exhibit to its transformation into an iconic exhibit in Oregon, the Spruce Goose has flown through history. Today, you can find this aviation marvel in the Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum in McMinnville, Oregon, where it continues to capture the imaginations of visitors from around the globe. So that's it for the most unusual flying machines ever built. Which one of these aviation sensations fascinated you the most? Let us know in the comments section. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now. See you next time.